So strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Insight AFL Podcast Network. My name is the SuperCoach Horse, and joining me today is someone new to our network who's going to be doing a fair bit of content for us this year. He finished top 1K last year, finished inside the top 1%. In fact, he finished inside the top 500, and for a lot of the season, he was inside the top 50 before the likes of Charlie Curnow stuffed up his season. I speak of none other than Silvertop Hurley. Hurls, welcome to the show. Happy to have you on board this year, mate.
Thanks, Horse. I'm looking forward to it. It's my podcast debut today, so I haven't debuted on anything for many years, so I'm looking forward to getting into some SuperCoach content with you and the other boys this year.
Sorry, it's not like the cricket. I don't have like a cap to anoint you for the start, or there's no banner to run through. It's just, hey, welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, this guy, I've been in a chat with him for nearly 12 months now, and he definitely knows his AFL. So you're going to want to be clued onto the screen on YouTube. You're going to want to have your listening ears out if you're listening on audio, because this man knows what he's talking about. Now, before we get into his initial team reveal for this year, Hurls, how did you get into SuperCoach and, more importantly, the Inside Fantasy Network?
So SuperCoach as a whole, been playing for many years with mates. Started up a league many years ago and turned into a cashy, actually. So we add a little bit of spice to it and a bit of sledging and that kind of stuff. And so take it relatively seriously, but probably for the first 5 or 6 years, all about leagues. Never really worried about overall, didn't do any of that. And then started consuming a lot of content. And so I watch a lot of the Insight gang, and especially, yourself and Skitty with AFL. I've been part of some of your leagues as well with AFL last year, which I won, but I won't brag. I also have the BBL league and NFL with Maverick, so Braino and Maverick and those guys, and mainly as a consumer, to be honest. And then when we were chatting and connecting and talking some crap about footy, it was good to just see and explore, could we do some more content-related stuff? And I've never done that before, and I hope I can add some value to everyone out there. So why not give it a crack?
Absolutely. No doubt you will, ladies and gentlemen. Not just are we getting Hurls' team reveals throughout the pre-season and his changes. You're going to want to subscribe to him on Twitter at Silvertop Hurley if you're not already. But inside our Patreon, Hurls is going to be writing up some articles on pods, players you want to keep an eye out throughout the season, rucks especially, and who you're going to want to target this year, rookies, and a whole lot more. So if you're not yet, the link is below in the description. Click the link through to our Patreon. It is free to join. Do so as soon as you can, please. But while we're on YouTube, click like, subscribe, and the bell. We call it the triple banger on the Insight Fantasy Network. Be a triple banger. So when we go live, you get the bell, you get the notification that we are live, so you stay up to date with all things SuperCoach AFL. Hurls, we're going to get straight into your team, mate, because that's why the people are here.
Let's do it.
Let's put this up now. So basically this year, with the flex position, has this changed your mindset as to how you structure your team?
Not particularly at the moment. It's early days. I'm viewing flex at the moment as an opportunity to make more cash. So you'll see when we get down the bottom, I've got a rookie in my flex position, and it's a rookie in a dual position. So at the moment, that's the way I'm going. I've seen many others go with the ruck and a third ruck going into that position, and I think that strategy is viable too. I think probably by the end of the year, that's where the flex will really come in. Do you go with that third primo ruck who can score maximum points, or do you stick with the extra mid, for example, or a mid forward so you can swing between lines? For the start of the year, I don't think it's going to have as big a difference as many people are saying, because ultimately, whether you put a premium in there or a rookie in there, you're still going to have them in the field anyway.
For sure, mate. So as we can see here, Hurls has gone with Sheasel, Luke Ryan, Jack Sinclair, Ari Schoenmaker, who that's the first time we've seen him in a team reveal this preseason. Dylan Williams from Port Adelaide, Smith from Richmond, Callan Smith from Richmond, Zach Reed, and Jed Buslinger. So there's a couple of pods there already that we're looking at going, okay, we're looking a bit different from the norm here. So just give me 30 seconds on each player, Hurls, and why you've selected them to start your initial team.
Yeah, sure. I like to do a certain thing in the preseason, so it'll reveal as we go along. I put pods in more often than not so that I can watch them through the preseason. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you see the names like Schoenmaker instead of Coleman. Like Coleman's in everyone's team, and he may well be in my team after opening round. But for now, I like to put the pods in there so I can just keep an eye on them, how they're going through the preseason. But we'll walk through it. So I think Harry Sheasel, he's going to be in a lot of teams. He's very popular. I think he's a lock. I like to go with my you can only afford 9 to 10 keepers in your starting squad. I like to go with the ones that I trust the most to be there at the end. So Sheasel, he's that player. I think he's going to play wherever the ball is for North Melbourne. He's going to start half forward maybe and fire the ball around or get some CBAs and stuff. So probably don't need to spend too much more time on him. Luke Ryan isn't in as many teams, I'm noticing, this year. I think maybe because towards the end of the year, Freo's game style changed a little bit. And people maybe are going a little bit more towards maybe a Clark instead of a Ryan, or maybe a bit scared of the price tag at $6.28. I think I call Luke Ryan the cheat code. I just think no matter how the game's played, he's gonna find a way to score those +8s. He'll get his kick-ins. If you get a team kicking 18 behinds against Freo, you're guaranteed that Luke Ryan's going to take a whole heap of kick-ins and he's going to run out of the square, bomb it long. He understands how the point scoring works better than any other defender. So
no doubt, yeah.
And then Sinclair, I think everyone's cotton on to him this year. St Kilda's a great backline to have SuperCoach players from. Their style suits the Wanganeen Maleras, the Sinclair, and then that's why I've also got Ari Schoenmaker in my team at the moment. I'm not totally sold on him yet. He had a taste of AFL last year. His VFL numbers are really good, and so I want to see if he's part of their setup before I definitely lock that in. But if he's part of that back six, there's going to be plenty of points to spread around the way Ross Lyon sets his back line up.
He's got one of the best left foots already in the competition. Have you seen the way he uses the ball?
Absolutely. And he took a few kick-ins last year. I mean, for a first-year player to be trusted with, I think in his 3 or 4 games, he averaged 3 kick-ins a game. If he's starting to do that, even though Sinclair maybe is back a bit more this year, will take most of them. If he's a designated kicker out of that St Kilda back line, he's certainly one that can make us the 150K that I'm looking for out of my sort of overpriced rookie in that spot.
One thing that sticks out to me, Hurls, is that was it his debut game against Brisbane last year where Saints were expected to get smacked and he's come in and he ended up scoring 90-odd SuperCoach points in that first game. There was 2 kickouts where he played on, left footer, went bang, and the contest is at centre wing. So he's able to, with that massive left leg that he gets, plays on from the back line, he gets his 20-odd metres, kicks at 60, 70 metres. That's gained nearly 100 metres for the Saints before anyone's touched the ball. Absolutely. Like that's a real asset to have for Rossi Lyon.
Definitely. And the way SuperCoach works, the long kick to a contest is an effective kick, right? So play on, kick to advantage, kick to an efficient kick, it's goal. So that's why he's on my radar. Like whether he stays there, we'll see how the preseason plays out. But at the moment, I think he's got some money to make.
For sure. Dylan Williams is interesting, mate.
Yeah, he's another one. I'm listening to a lot of people talk about the Port Adelaide backline and who's going to take the Houston role. And while I don't know if Dylan Williams will take the role, I think he might be part of the back six. And if he is, I really look back to 2 years ago. Last year he wasn't in the Port Adelaide team very much. The year before, he was averaging sort of 75 to 85 in that first spell when he came into the Port Adelaide team. So, yeah, if he can do that at 180,000, I think he's worth looking at. Again, he might not be part of their back six, and then he'll be replaced by somebody else. But if he is in there, he's someone I want to keep an eye on.
I like it, mate. He kicks the ball a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a kicker. If you go look at his stats, it'll be an 80% kicking to handball ratio. He hates handballing. And so if that's what they're looking at to team him up maybe with Farrell, like that'd be a great little setup back there. Because everyone's
at some scores,
Farrell. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at some scores. Harold's currently dealing with some hamstring awareness as well. Scores of 84, 76, 87, 110, 84, 84, 81, 85, 85, 64. This is all in his first year in the back line at Port Adelaide. So if he does get a good run at it, pardon me, at 180K, you got to think this is his third preseason. So in AFL years, he's 3 years old. He's had 2 good preseasons coming into his third. He could be ready to get back to that 2023 average where I'll get back to where he is. He averaged for that year. I've lost it. Sorry. In 2023, it was an ordinary year last year, but he averaged 67 SuperCoach points per game.
Yeah.
So
if you can get your rookies doing that, and they're playing the first 8 or 9 weeks, and we know Port Adelaide have got a favourable draw, I think that would be a winner. Again, it depends if he's in the back six, but I think it's just something for the community to keep an eye on. And I like to do that with some of my teams at this time of the year. I don't want to lock myself into anyone, but you're always looking for who am I going to just keep a bit of an extra attention
100%.
on as the preseason flows through.
Yeah.
And
so
in a similar boat. He's sort of, will he get that Rioli role at Richmond? I don't know, but if he does, he's a nice kick. He showed last year in his couple of games that they trust him and they want the ball in his hands. So, why wouldn't he be the one that comes in and takes that role initially? And the ball's going to be down that back line a lot for Richmond this year. So you really want to look at, if you're going to pick anyone from Richmond, it's going to be the blokes down that end.
Yep. You ready to get hurt again by Zach Reid?
Zach Reid was, I think, one of only 4 players that stayed in my team all year last year. He didn't play a game. He sat on my bench. He was a loop a lot of the times. Look, as an Essendon man, I know the potential this guy's got, so I've got to back him in that his injuries are right. He's going to be a slow burn. He's not going to be a 100-point scorer regularly, although he might have the odd spike game. But if he can stay fit, he's in the best 22 for sure at Essendon, and he can, score his 60 a week, make your cash, get rid of him at the buys, and I think he'll do his job if he can keep on the park.
I agree. And Jed Buslinger, D8 that you've got there, he's been coming for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Do you think it's finally time? I actually saw a good stat. For those of you who don't know the website, DFS Australia, run by Morts, they run a really good show over there at DFS, show a lot of stats. That even with the likes of McRae and Daniel leaving the Dogs this year, that it's not going to really affect their core centre bounce crew with the numbers that they had last year with the Bontempellis and your Liberatores and your Trelaws and that sort of thing. So when we're looking at that, Hurls, with Buslinger, is he going to play back? Like we saw the Frasier, he's having a really good second preseason, and at 370K, that's probably a bit of risk there, but this guy surely gets a go this year.
Yeah, look, I'd love some Bulldog supporters to comment and let us know, but if he's going to get a game, his VFL stats are amazing. And so I'm always on the radar for these guys at VFL level, high draft picks. They're in the system for a few years. Can they take that step? And if you can find them for SuperCoach, that's gold. So, I'm not as close to the Bulldogs and whether he will be in the back six or not. But if he is, he's one I want.
For sure. We'll move on to the midfielders, mate. And while you scroll down there, our midfield group is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, helping you drink responsibly. Jump on the website, put in the code IFS15 for 15% off your order in store. We've got plenty of products from them. They're 4-in-1s, they're Standard Squeeze containers. their hats, their shirts, you name it, they've got it. Ash and the crew there at Standard Screes run a really good ship. Get across there, IFS 15, and purchase yourself or the lovely something nice from their store. Now, mate, midfielders. It's hard to go past the Bont at number one, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have to have him, I think. Every team that I've tinkered with that doesn't have Bont, it helps you put some other things elsewhere, but I keep coming back to the problem of the 180 week that he's going to have at some stage, and you don't have him, and you're just kicking yourself. So I think it's just to put him in, forget about it, and move on. He's your vice captain or captain option every week, and you just play on. And I'm viewing the same with Butters. I think he's going to continue on like he did last year. So they're my two staples for my midfield. I like to really look at structure when it comes to midfield, and the way we end up at round one will be determined by how many rookies are viable. So at this stage of the season, I've sort of tried to structure it with the 2 premiums, the 3 mid prices, and then the rest rookies for now. I think this is the decision that everyone needs to make. How many premiums are you going with here versus how many risks are you taking with those mid prices? One thing that the audience can't see here is in this team, what I'm doing is I'm keeping about 150K in the bank.
Beautiful.
And that's because I'm heavy on value in the midfield here. And I like to burn one trade. This is just my personal strategy. I like to go for 2 or 3 at least value picks in the midfield. So here I've gone for Parrish, Chera, and Peatling that I think are value. And I'll talk about the risks with each one in a minute. But what I like to do is watch the first couple of rounds, see if I've hit the mark. If you can nail these 3, you're laughing. Because if they can average the 100 to 110 that you hope for the first 6 to 7 weeks, then you've got to jump on the rest of the competition. If one doesn't work, though, I've left some cash in the bank so that I can quickly go Parrish up to Sarong or something like that and say, look, I made a bad pick, so be it. I'll burn one trade and go with it.
Can I ask you think back to last year and we had Matt Crouch that started at 440K.
Yeah.
Is your thinking with Parrish, Chera, and Peatling here going, all right, so if they pop off like Matt Crouch did, awesome. I don't have to look for money to get them in. But if they don't, then as you just said, I can move Parrish to a Sarong, or I can move Adam Chera into someone else. Or Peatling, for me, I think breakout is written all over James Peatling at the moment. He's got massive, massive potential. And if he's given that role as the inside mid alongside Saligo at the Crows, I think he can potentially be a 100-plus point Supercoach player this year.
Yeah, he's done it. He's done 105 for GWS when he had the midfield time. So he needs that midfield time. So you've got to monitor the preseason. If he's getting the CBAs, he's going to average 100. And that's exactly what my thinking is, Horse, with these. Like last year, for example, the way I did it, I went with 3 risks again. One paid off. I think it was probably Jack Steele was one that worked. And I had Newcomb who didn't work. And I actually had Martin who ended up working, but I got itchy trigger finger and I pulled the trigger really quickly. So I ended up trading Martin down to McKercher because I missed the value of McKercher. And I traded Newcomb up to, I think it was Sarong. So I moved 2 of the 3 out in my first 2 weeks, but I restructured, but I left a little cash to do that. So you just got to work with your strategy. Are you a risk taker or not? You might not be. You might want to put more premiums and less risky mid prices. But if you can nail these all 3, geez, you're flying.
You are. We see here the rookies. I don't want to go into the rookies too much because we're going to do a rookie podcast in the coming weeks. But we've got Jager Smith, Elijah Zardis, who, both of us are Essendon supporters, really excited to see what he's going to bring this year. He's been one of the best on the track so far. Levi Ashcroft, if he's anything like his brother Will, he's going to be a gun. Sid Draper has been training the house down in Adelaide. Xavier Lindsay, love that you've put him in. Haven't seen him in many teams, but there's a chance he's going to be that running defender at Melbourne. And also Neil Erasmus, who has been tearing up the waffle. And I think his time has come where he's going to be he's not going to be a 100-plus point Supercoach player, but 119K. If he scores a 70 and we've got that 70 average for 9 weeks, 10 weeks, we're going to make 300K out of him, and then we can move him into a primo.
Yeah, I'm in WA. I live in WA, and I went to the Waffle Grand Final last year. He was unbelievable. His final stats through the Waffle were off the charts. It's just a matter of, does he get a game at Freo? They're pretty stacked, so I'd love to see them play him. I don't know whether they will.
For sure, mate.
The only other one in that list, just to touch on there, Sardis. I think I want to see how Essendon play him. I'm a massive fan. I hope they give him midfield time this year. I think he's going well in the preseason, but that doesn't mean a lot.
No.
Can he take that step and play midfield time every week? And again, your rookies are dictated to by, are they in the team, are they playing, and are they going to make you cash? So some of these are placeholders, let's be honest, but we'll see. Yep. We'll see which ones land. And round 0 is gold for rookies because we'll see some of these guys play.
For sure. How's your ruck line looking?
Ruck line, I've gone with the two sort of, or one set and forget. Cherry, I think will last all year. I think he's the safest of the premium rucks. And then I've gone, like many others, Darcy. I think he's a bit of a risk injury-wise. He always is, but if he can stay injury-free, he's proven as well to be able to score with the big boys. So they're the two that I've gone on. I liked last year. I didn't trade my rucks at all. So I started with Gawn and Grundy last year and was one of the few lucky ones that just held them all the way through when everyone else was playing ringer rosy around ruckman and trading and wasting trades. I got to keep the same two, and I'm hoping I can do the same with these two. The only thing that makes me a bit nervous here is not having Gawn, and I don't know if I'll get itchy fingers before the season starts and maybe bite the bullet and put him in because he's just amazing when he's good. But I don't know, he's getting on a bit now. Melbourne might not be as good. I'm not sure.
For sure, mate. So Cherry averaged 7.5 tackles last year, finished the last 5 rounds averaging 148 SuperCoach points. He was the number 1 SuperCoach scorer in SuperCoach last year, closely followed by Bontempelli. Sean Darcy, you're a WA man, and I see that he's at your R2. He has dropped a shitload of weight, and he's running on top of the ground at the moment. He's looking extremely fit. I've had some conversations with other people in the SuperCoach world that are like, well, he's lost his size. Does this mean he's going to lose his ability to use his body around contest? But we always go back to the fact that the lighter you are, the fitter you are, the more contests you're going to get to, the more time on ground you're going to have, which is therefore going to maximize the points that you can score. You can't score points when you're on the bench, or you can't score points, pardon my language, if you're fucked. Because if you're blowing and you've got your hands on your hips sucking them in, it's pretty hard to find the ball or to do those repeated second efforts. If he's running on top of the ground and he's fit, you don't get any shorter when you're fitter. He's still going to be a fairly dominant player. And in 2021, he averaged 118 for the season. He's got that top-end ability.
And that's the thing with him. The ruck rules, I think, will suit him as well. Like it showed when he did play last year, he could use his body to do that. I don't see a problem with losing some weight. I think he had some to lose. Let's be honest. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
And then, like everybody else, the third ruck is just a placeholder now for the St Kilda boy when he gets in. So the new McGarry medalist, if he gets a game and he plays, everyone's going to have him. He'll be the most highly owned player at SuperCoach at R3, I would imagine.
That's right. Do you want to scroll down to your forwards, mate? We'll check out your forwards.
We'll go to the forwards. This is, I guess, somewhat controversial. I've gone 5 mid-prices in my forward line this year at the moment. I'm avoiding any premiums for 2 reasons. I don't think they're going to hurt if I don't start with them. So, your Horn Francis, Rankin, they will probably be in everyone's team by the end of the year. I don't see that it's going to burn me too much if I don't have them at the start. Okay. And I really think we can get some good value out of our mid-prices. So I've got McRae. Bailey Smith's probably the one I'm least confident with. I want to see that round 0 to see what he does, but he's there for now because he can – if he gets any midfield time at Geelong, he's going to probably average your 95, which is enough for a forward.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Sanders is probably a unique that not many people have, and I want to see what Bevo does to him before I commit to this pick. But if he gets some of that midfield time that should be available at the Dogs, he was shown last year that he can average in that 95 to 100 range, and I think they have to play him, don't they, Horse, or he's going to leave. I think he's at that point where if he gets bevoed again this year, he's going to start weighing up. When can I get
aging midfield? Bontempelli's still not that old, but when you're talking Treloar, Liberatore, we don't want to see another headlock to Liberatore, but you need that insurance policy. And Riley Sanders is the new wave that's coming through. He's got to have time in the middle there.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a risk. We'll see how that plays out for the preseason. Philippou, again, he was great when he went into the middle last year. So I think Rossi would be mad if he doesn't persist with him getting at least, your 40 to 60% CBAs. I think that's good for Philippou. And Caleb Daniel's going to be the most owned. He's going to run off that halfback seagull role at North Melbourne, which everyone seems to score. If Fisher could score hundreds in that role, Caleb Daniel will be doing more than that, you would imagine.
Yeah, Caleb Daniel is a much better player than Mr. Fisher. And then we see Elijah Hewitt at F6, Kako at F7, and Joe Berry, good choice there. He started in the Port Adelaide forward line in their match simulation yesterday, and looks like he's firming for a round one debut there.
Love to hear that. I don't know if I'm biased, but as an Essendon fan, I did a lot of research on the draft before the draft because we were guaranteed to get Kako. And every time anyone mentioned Kako, they also mentioned Berry. So I happen to like him as well. He looks like a real jet forward. So if he can get games, I think he'll be good. Again, you can't expect too much from the rookies, but if they can get regular, consistent games, that's what you're looking for. And then one last point on this forward line. I've gone 5 mid prices here, but if you get notice in the preseason that you've got more viable rookies, I'll probably go with 4 and change one of those mid prices that I don't like down to a rookie just to maximise the value there. We'll see how we go.
Smart idea. Who have you got in your flex to finish us off, Hurls?
My flex is my man Saad Hurley. I think he has to play for Essendon. We're both Essendon fans, and if he doesn't have a wing role, maybe rotating to halfback, I'll be concerned. I think we need pace desperately. We need foot skills desperately. We need some midfield goal kickers desperately. And so I think he's, without putting too much pressure on the poor guy, I think he's in the 23 for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we don't want to put too much pressure on him, but Hurley, we're expecting you to be the next James Hird, mate. So step it up, and the quicker the better, please.
That's it. I think just strategic wise, you see there that I've gone a rookie, but I've also gone a dual position rookie. If I can help it, that's how my starting flex position will look, because I want to be able to cover multiple lines with my flex position. And then late in the year, that might shift to a ruck, but we'll see. Good idea.
So
that's it.
Let's go through your team from start to finish then, so we can just give everyone a bit of a preview on the whole team as a whole in case they missed something or they tuned out for a couple of minutes. So from the back line, we see Sheasel, Luke Ryan, Jack Sinclair, Ari Schoenmaker, Dylan Williams, and Smith from Richmond, with Zach Reid and Buzzlinger from Western Bulldogs on the bench. In our midfield, we've got Marcus Bontempelli, Zach Butters, Darcy Parish, Adam Chera, especially with the news of Sam Walsh's hamstring. Nick Newman has done a knee today, so we'll know more in the coming days how serious that is. James Peatling, poised for breakout at Adelaide there at M5. Jager Smith, Elijah Zardes, Levi Ashcroft, and with your mid-bench, 3 rookies, Sammy Draper, Xavier Lindsay, and Neil Erasmus. With our rucks, Tristan Cherry, I don't think I've seen a team yet without him in it. Sam Darcy at R2, and it'll be Boyd from St Kilda as soon as he gets added to the Yap at R3. And with our forwards, we've got no forward premiums, which is very interesting, but love the thought process behind it. Jack McRae, Bailey Smith, Riley Sanders, Mateus Philippou, Caleb Daniel, Elijah Hewitt, who has been training with West Coast as a halfback. Very interesting to see, or very interested to see how that plays out at West Coast. Isaac Kako, Joe Berry as well, and in the flex, Essendon's favourite son, already hasn't even played a game, Saad Hurley. Hurls, where can people find you on social media?
Mainly on X, I think is what it's called these days, Twitter/X. So at Silvertop Hurls is where you can find me. You'll have to put up with a lot of my Essendon rants. So I mainly tweet about Essendon or SuperCoach. So come and follow me there, and love to love to help the community out. If you got questions, ask away. I'm on there a fair bit, so you can catch me there.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, inside our Patreon, again, down below, the link will be. For a period of time, we're going to make every article free. At the moment, we've got a SuperCoach for Beginners article in there that you can read about, pardon me, to help you set up your team for the 2025 AFL season. There are other articles in there as well that are free to read at the moment until the middle of Feb-ish, and then we're going to put some of that behind a paywall. So if you want to get all the good content early, click the link below. It's all free. It doesn't cost you a cent. And then if you want to keep your membership up for the remainder of the year, it will be a cup of coffee per month, $6 per month to see all the articles, everything we write about, our buy, hold, sells, all the analysis, the numbers, schedules, you name it. We've got a team of 6, including Hurls there. We've got Dr. Supercoach in there writing articles for us. We've got Pete from Nerds for Life, who does a lot of good things on social media. My boy Skitty, and also Deadly, who's been magnificent behind the scenes with all the numbers, all for you inside our Patreon. So please click the link below to have access to all of that. But for today, Hurls, pretty good debut episode, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Well, the proof will be in the pudding whether anyone watches, but welcome any feedback. Send the feedback in the comments, and we'll see if you want me to do anything more, better, different, or less. I'll take that feedback on board.
Absolutely, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do us for today, but stay tuned. My team reveal is coming up, and also the man himself, the Dr. Insight, or the Insight Doctor, formerly Dr. Supercoach, is going to give his team reveal. You're not going to want to miss that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you then.